Hey guys, it's Rush. Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. I'm known for covering fight pads on this YouTube channel, but I wanted to cover this controller, the 8-Bit Do Pro 2 pad, mainly because of how fantastic this controller is. It's a real minimalistic design. It's very simple, but it's how good it is, how effective it is, considering the price and the build quality as well. It's built very well. It looks lovely. It feels great in the hands. So I wanted to just cover it because I'm so impressed with this pad and my son loves it. I bought it for him for his Xbox Series S, but I have been using it on Tekken as well, and I find it really good for games like Tekken 8. Not so much Street Fighter 6 because you don't have the 6 face buttons, but let's go over why this pad is so good. So in terms of features, it is a wired controller and it has Hall effect joysticks, which is very nice. That means the sticks will last a little bit longer. It has a 3.5mm audio jack and it is a Xbox and PC pad only. It won't be compatible with the PS5 without a converter. You can get it in black and it comes in white as well, but it's a really minimalistic, clean design and the shape of it feels great. Everything just feels in the right place, and that's the main reason why I wanted to cover this pad. The design, the face of it is completely flat, smooth, but not like a polished surface. It's a little bit rough to the hand. It's got a nice rough texture by design, but it's flat. It's completely flat, and I think the shape of the pad is based on the Super Nintendo controller. And what they've done is they've added handles to each side, so you get that secure, firm grip. Your hands are not moving. You're really in control when it comes to your button inputs. But look at my placement of my thumbs. My thumbs sit right over the D-pad and right over the 4 face buttons, and they're in alignment as well. It feels great. And when it comes to the shoulder buttons, you've got shoulders for LB, RB, for L1, L2, depends on what you refer them to as. And the rear buttons are trigger. I call them triggers, but I think some people call them paddles. You got paddles on the back. But look how my fingers fit on the top. They just sit right over those buttons. I just got to move them back and forth. I haven't got to lean them out there. I haven't got to reach over. They sit so naturally in position. And look on the back of the pad as well. You've got paddles, which are big, chunky. Look at the positioning. They've built them so they sit partially in the middle and they slope down with the handles of the pad. I really like this. So your fingers won't have a problem finding those buttons. You can feel where they are. They actually protrude and they're very easy to find and press. And they feel very similar to the face buttons. The face buttons, the D-pad, the shoulders, I don't believe they're keyboard switches or mouse switches. They're just standard sort of buttons, but they all feel nice to the touch. They feel clicky. They're not super sensitive. The same goes for the rear buttons as well. So I just love this pad. I generally love this pad, and that's why I wanted to shout it out. It's not super expensive. I purchased it for about £32 off of Amazon. It doesn't come wireless. It is a wired only pad, but for me, I prefer wired pads anyway. This button here, this button is used to activate the settings. So any settings you change on this pad, where it's the sensitivity of the analog sticks, the sensitivity of the triggers on the back, if you remap any button, so any of these buttons can be completely remapped, the face buttons, the shoulders, and the buttons on the rear. You press that button to activate your changes. If you disable those changes, it's stock configuration. So that's really nice as well. You do that via the software. So you can just turn the changes on and off with the touch of a button. So this is a look at the software you can download to your PC to manipulate, to change the configuration settings of the pad. So the buttons, this is where you map your buttons. You can see the P1, P2, those are the rear buttons. You can click on those. You can assign them to whatever you want to assign them to, which is really cool. You can remap all of the buttons. This is a really good feature. I don't know why we don't introduce this on all pads, but you can remap everything. Everything can be changed to whatever you want it to be. And here you can adjust the sticks, so the sensitivity of the sticks. You can invert things. So many options you can set here in terms of the inputs. Triggers are the exact same. You can set your sensitivity. I think I've already changed this to, yeah, so I've already reduced the amount of sensitivity on this pad. I think it's to 40 I set it to. So yeah, you can actually see, you can feel where the button will actually activate in terms of where you've set the trigger sensitivity, which is really nice. But when you've made those changes, you do a sync to device, and now it will tell you about the fact that that button in the bottom right will enable and disable the configuration changes. So you can go from a standard layout to the modified layout with the press of a button, which is really good. So if you don't know, I play fighting games on this channel, and when I got this pad, straight away I thought to myself, let me try it on Tekken 8. The layout, the 4 face buttons is ideal for Tekken 8. You don't need 6 face buttons. That's more for, I prefer 6 face buttons for Street Fighter 6. But straight away, the way it feels in my hand, holding it with a claw grip feels perfectly fine. Doesn't feel too heavy, feels nice in the hand, nice and secure. And inputs feel good. The D-pad is responsive, you know, tapping in the different directions feels fine. I don't have any issues with that at all. I'd say diagonals can be a bit tricky. You've got to make sure you press those diagonals with significant amount of, you know, force. But it does feel good. I've got to say the button placement, the way it feels in my hands, just the button feel, everything feels great. I don't have much of an issue at all. You can see these aren't super hard combos. The slide as well, I say about Tekken, if you can do slide input nicely and easily on a pad, then that shows that the D-pad's decent enough. I do find it a bit finicky, but I feel like it's more me being sloppy with the inputs rather than it being a pad thing. So it feels really good for Tekken. So yes, I generally love this controller, and I highly recommend if you're on the lookout for a new pad for your PC or for your Xbox, you don't mind a wired pad, I recommend this one. I would be really interested to see what it would be like if 8-Bit Do had another model like this. Maybe if it was ever so slightly bigger to give it more surface area on the face and add 6 face buttons. The fact that 8-Bit Do, the company itself, and that allow you to remap everything, and just the cost and the design quality. I can't believe how cheap this pad is for how good it feels and just how simplistic. I love the simplistic design, but a pad like this with 6 face buttons, I think would be really, really good. If I were to critique one other thing, I'd say with the D-pad, it being a circular D-pad. I say this D-pad size is good, but if it were like this, but then maybe if it had slightly more plastic to cover those diagonals so you can feel the diagonals a bit more, or making it circular, so the exact same D-pad as this, but having it circular, not the Sega Saturn style D-pad. I'd be intrigued to see how that would do. I think 8-Bit Do would make a fantastic fight pad, a 6-button fight pad, if they were to add the additional buttons, have a circular D-pad that's still the same size, but keep this design. Maybe if it were a dedicated fight pad, change the triggers to shoulder buttons like the front two here. That's like a very specific fight pad type thing. And that is it, guys, for the video. Such a clean and tidy controller. It's so nice, so cheap, so well built. I can't fault it at all. It's such a good controller. One of the best controllers I've used. Just a standard controller that I've used, particularly a third party one as well, in many, many years. Not very often that I get excited about a standard console controller, but yeah, I really like this. So yeah, check it out. If you're after a new pad and you're on Xbox or PC, definitely check it out. And 8-Bit Do, think about the fight pad version. Just think about it. Just watch the video, give it a thumbs up, and consider the fight pad version of this in the future. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.